Hello everyone. I just want to give you some instructions on lab and homework 3. You're looking at this is the one that I sent out to you. I also posted the 7th edition pages, these page numbers in here, so please refer to these. I would not use these page numbers at all because they could be different numbers with it, so please refer to the 7th edition numbers that I have for you. One of the things is that for the first homework I want to talk to you about is you're going to create 2 subdirectories. So make sure you have a directory that's called your name, the number of the lab underscore your first initial and your full last name with 2 subdirectory. So you will have a directory that's called HW, and then you have another directory that's called lab. All right. Inside the HW and on a Word document, if you can please do these problems that I've listed here for you, these problems right here. Okay. So in a Word document, on the folder it says lab, if you can please create one project. Okay, this is the instruction. One project with multiple CPP files, and I like for you to call that project. The name of the project will be created as the name of the folder. Call it Chapter 3. Inside of that, you will add, instead of adding new file, that we normally did for Lab 2 is to have main. Instead of main, I like for you to call it Chapter 3 underscore 2, Chapter 3 underscore 3, Chapter 3 underscore 5, Chapter 3 underscore 7. So that's what you will have with it. After you're done with that, inside of this file, all right, when you compile each one of them for me, you will take a screenshot of each one of the files with it, and you will post the results for each one of the results. Call that file screenshots, okay? Paste it in here is what I meant to say. So you paste the results for Chapter 2 here, Chapter 3 here, so on and so on with it. Does that make sense? So the output goes here with it. So that's what I would like for you to do. I gave you the Word document for this file. All right. The 7th edition book I also gave you that's posted. It looks like this. So please use this file to create to do your homework with it as well. It starts on bottom of page 174. I thought I would also grab this. Please read the quick review for your Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. You will have a test coming up on this first test that you have that has the test with it. I normally, if I ask you some questions, study these, you understand this, and a lot of times I could negate it. One of the things I want to make sure you understand it. So a lot of times I take these questions and I make it false, and I can put it into a multiple type of which one of the following is false. So I give you some of these selections and you pick the one that's false. So please read Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 and read the quick reviews for me. Okay? Here's the thing is I want to kind of start you out on some of these problems with this thing. If you take a look at the exercise problem that I have right now for you, I'm going to walk you through some of this way, and I'll tell you why they're false and why they're true with this thing. All right, so let's see how many minutes we have here. Let's do number 1 together. This is Chapter 3, number 1. Exercise. This is on page 174 on Chapter 7, 7th edition. I'm sorry. So the first one says an input stream sequence of character from a computer is an input device with it. It's wrong. So you can get input devices from a mouse, a keyboard. It doesn't have to be a sequence of character with it. So A is false. To CN and CI program, to use the CN/CI program, you must include the I/O stream. That is true. That is true. Yeah, this is input/output stream. That header file allows you to do that. Take a look at the next one. C. Suppose pay is a variable of type W. The statement CN pay requires the input of a decimal. That's not true. You can do an int. Remember that a double has a size of 8 byte. You don't have to be. It does not require you to input the decimal as a decimal with it. You can input it as an int. You can cast it narrow, going 8 byte bit down to 4 bits. If you put it in, it will fit with it. However, Suppose this is, so C is false with it. However, yeah, let me reverse this thing. What if I made pay as an int? And what if I put in the pay, I gave it a size, a double, meaning something with a decimal? It's going to drop off that decimal part. So if I gave like 3.14 pi, for example, and if I give pay an int, it's going to just take 3. It will drop off the decimal 1/4. Okay? So C in this case is false with it. Look at letter D. The statement Cn, length, and length Cn is equivalent. That's wrong. You know, you can't do that. So these two statements do not have the same meaning. Matter of fact, this length reading in Cn is wrong. Okay, so it's D is false. Take a look at E. When a statement Cn num1 num2 executes after the inputting statement into variable num1, the program skips all the trailing zeros in the white space in the character with this thing. So what does it mean with skipping all trailing zeros in this thing? Is that if you look at E, what this means is, so let's say you have all these trailing zeros. There's an example down the bottom here I want to bring your attention to. So there's one here. Let me give you an example. Take a look at this one right here. This is a good example. This 35 space 28.30. Okay, so it's going to ignore all the trailing zeros right here. Okay, this is a trailing zero. This number 3 here, this 12.5 is going to ignore that trailing zero in here as well. So this is an example going back to that problem we were looking at. So E, this is saying E is false because it's it will basically input a number into a variables. Number 1, the program skips all the trailings in the white character space with it. Okay. F, to use the predefined function POW, you gotta have the library file CPP. This is false. Okay, you gotta use just the C math. And actually, this question, I think it's kind of premature because you won't learn about predefined function until you get to chapter 6. And chapter 6 is the chapter that actually talks to you about. There's a table in chapter 6 if you want to refer to it. This table is on page. Let me pull up page number with that. It's on chapter 6. It lists all the library files for you to study. I'll tell you where that is in a second. Yeah. It's on page 347, page 348 of the 7th edition. And if you look at the POW function, which is the power exponential function, it requires you to have the C math. Okay, so F is false in this case with it. So let's take a look at G. The statement Cn.get gets the character, inputs the next character into the variable Cn. This is true. This is true. This is a good statement. You're using the Cn and you do the method of the get and you pass in the variable with it. When the input stream enters the fail state, that it terminates. It basically terminates the whole thing. This is false. It has an error message with it. It just stops working. It doesn't terminate with an error message with it at all. So it just stops. It just kicks it out with it. You will not get an error message. Letter I, to use the manipulator fix show point, the program does not require the inclusion of the header file iomanip with this thing. So this is true. One of the statements I want to talk to you about is the cout fix show point set positions to 2 with it. It's the set position 2 is the one that requires you to have the iomanip. Fix and show point does not. Okay, so here let me pause for a moment.